So you're a landlord. You've been hearing all these great things, probably from watching my playlist, about how Section 8 works, and you're ready to do it. And you know from my last video that you don't sign up at Section 8 to get Section 8 tenants, that you list your house for rent and you say that they're Section 8 okay, and then the Section 8 tenants come to you, and you heard you can get really good rent from them. But how much is it you can get really? So how do you do that? How do you figure that out? I'm going to go into that in this video. I'm Monique Burns. My properties are all in Detroit, Michigan, and I am an investor. I'm a landlord. My husband and I flip houses. I am a past property manager. So I know a few things about Section 8, and I like to help people learn about how to do this. And I'm starting to do a little bit of consulting. I'll tell you about it as we go in this video. It's kind of new. It might not be up on my website yet. In my last video, I made some suggestions about where you should list your houses for rent. And my first and most favorite one that I have been using for years, affordablehousing.com. That is where Section 8 will tell their participants to go to seek out a house where the landlords will accept Section 8. And it just came to my attention literally last night that actually that probably isn't such a good idea for us if we're after getting the highest amount of rent. I was talking to my friend Jay last night about all this, and he has a lot of his own Section 8 rentals, and he said, you know, I don't think you should list on there, and let me tell you why. And I was like, wow, he's actually right. So picture this. You have a house for rent, and you're not really sure how much you can get out of a Section 8 tenant. So let's say you have a 3-bedroom house, and you put it up on affordablehousing.com, and you say, I have a 3-bedroom house and I want $1,100 a month rent. And then you get this tenant that calls, and you find out through these questions, which I'm about to teach you here in this video, that you can actually get more than $1,100. You can actually get, let's say, some random number. You can get $1,228 from Section 8. So you're like, great. So you fill out their paperwork. You get that number, which I'll tell you how to get, approved by Section 8, and then Section 8 does the next step. They send out an inspector. You get through the inspection process. The tenant moves in. You're waiting for your first payment, and your first payment comes in, and oh my gosh, they only gave you $1,100. Why is that? Because they went and looked on their favorite website, affordablehousing.com, and they're like, oh, you listed it for $1,100, so really you'll take $1,100, so we'll give you $1,100. And you just lost out on that rest of that. I can't do math fast. The rest of that money that you could have gotten. So there's 2 tricks that I have to give credit to my friend Jay that he taught me how to avoid this happening to you. Now, this has never happened to me. I've heard of it happening to other people. So this is kind of hearsay. I've never, in all the years of doing this, I've never had Section 8 come back and say, you said $1,100. But let's just make sure that doesn't happen. So one of the things, wherever you're listing your house, Jay gave me this great phrase. He said to put it on all your ads. Actual rental amount depends on voucher. How do you figure out how much to rent it for? Well, some people, and I have seen from looking on affordablehousing.com, because that's where I've been going. I'm not going to anymore. But I have seen on there that people will list their houses for rent for the full HUD FMR. So what am I saying? The HUD FMR is the amount of money that Section 8 has, this max amount. Now, I've got all this written out in a blog, and if you go down below and open up where I write on here under the video, you can link out to my blog and get all the links that I'm going to be talking about. But go to the HUD Fair Market amount, and I put in Michigan, Wayne County, and then you get this little thing, and it says 3 bedrooms. And right now it says 1,000, I think it's 1,511. That's the full HUD FMR amount for a 3-bedroom. And you get all excited as a landlord. You're like, oh, I could really get that much. You know, like, that's great. I'm going to make money. This is better than I ever thought. That big HUD FMR amount is what is called the maximum gross rent. So when tenants call you, they've got paperwork, and all the Section 8 offices say they all have this paperwork. So this is the term, maximum gross rent. And this is the amount that's on the HUD FMR probably, and it's the bells and whistles amount. So yes, maybe you could get that amount if you are offering to pay the gas, the electric, the water, you're offering a stove, a refrigerator, a washer, dryer, a disposal, ceiling fans, a patio, a fenced-in yard, a driveway, a two-car garage. Oh, and let's throw in a swimming pool and maybe a security guard. Then maybe they'll give you the full HUD FMR amount. The tenants also have this other amount, supposedly, on their paperwork, and I've seen it on some of them lately, and it's called the payment standard. And that's the real rental amount if the tenant has to actually pay their own gas, electric, and water. The other bells and whistles make the amount go up and down a little bit, but the most important thing to take into consideration is the payment standard. So if they come at me and they say, I've got a 3-bedroom voucher for $1,511, I'm like, that's the gross amount. To get to where the amount is that I can probably charge them, I do what I've called in a lot of my videos the 200 rule. I knock off $200. That's probably their real amount, is closer to $1,300. And then the bells and whistles, like I said, take it up and down. When you get their move packet, I'll say, okay, so they said their gross amount was at $1,500. I'm going to take off $200. So I'll put $1,300 on there and see what they come back at. After I fill out the move packet, they'll come back and they'll say, oh, she can only afford $1,227 or something. I'm like, okay, good. I was kind of thinking $1,200 anyway. So that's good. So I kind of have that range in my head when I work with tenants. When I am trying to determine how much to list my house for rent to get people to call me, I know the full HUD FMR for a 3-bedroom right now in Detroit is $1,511. So when I go to list my house, I minus off $300 because I know that the rent's going to come in around $1,200 to $1,300. It's going to be somewhere in that window, and I will put $1,200 in my ad because I want to get as many people calling me as possible, because some of the people that are in the 1,100 range, they think that's what their amount is. They could maybe get 1,200. It gives me a greater pool of applicants, tenants. So the question is now, if you can't list it there, and that's my favorite place, where else is there? Well, my friend Jay has another really good solution for that, and he came up with it himself here in Detroit, and he made up a Facebook group called Detroit Metro Area Section 8 Only Rentals. And as of right now, it's got 17.3 thousand members. And a lot of Section 8 tenants go on there and they will ask for what they need, or you can post your house on there and it doesn't really cost anything. And you're sticking with the Section 8 people. Another place that I list is Zillow, but it's $30. And something I'm just starting to offer as part of my consulting is my own list of Section 8 offices. I will sell you that list that I've accumulated over the many years of figuring out everybody's email addresses for all the different Section 8 offices. And I know which offices ask for which forms, so you can just send them the one email and throw in the forms with the whole big group email. And so check it out. Go to my blog and all the links are there to get that, to find the Facebook group, to find where to list, and you should be all set. Now you know what you're doing.